Everyone's obsessed with downtown Minneapolis, but here's the truth. The best downtowns in Minnesota are hiding in the suburbs. In this video, I'm ranking the real top 10, and some of these are going to surprise you. After helping hundreds of families find the right community in the Twin Cities, I know exactly what makes a downtown worth your time. So stick around because number one is not what you think. All right, let's jump into this list. Picture holiday lights reflecting off fresh snow while you grab coffee at a local shop, not a Starbucks. That's the Main Street vibe in Maple Grove, and it's exactly what draws families from across the North and West Metro. So here's what you need to know. Maple Grove is Minnesota's 11th biggest city with over 70,000 people. People actually call it the restaurant capital of Minnesota because it's got nearly 150 places to eat throughout the city. Kingdom Coffee anchors the Main Street area, which is a local spot, not a chain. And then you've got tons of shopping and restaurants all within walking distance. What I love about the Main Street area specifically is how walkable it is. During the holidays, they put up these really nice lights and the whole vibe just changes. It becomes this destination where families can stroll around, grab coffee, maybe do some shopping. And here's something else I'll get into later that might surprise you. When we looked at the full top 10, you'll see how Maple Grove's downtown punches above its weight compared to way older, more established areas. So stick around. Now, talking about the shops at Arbor Lakes is also right here, which is a massive outdoor shopping center. So you're getting that downtown feel mixed with serious retail options. Median home prices in Maple Grove sit around the mid 400s as of November 2025. You're looking at mostly newer construction homes from the 1980s through 2020s. The Osseo schools serve the area. Now, if you're living in Maple Grove, obviously you're right here. But this downtown also pulls people from Champlin, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, Osseo, and even folks from the eastern suburbs like Fridley and Columbia Heights who want to head northwest for dining and shopping. The city throws tons of events throughout the year. Chalk Fest in early June, Winterfest during the colder months, Blues and Brews, there's always something happening. Maple Grove delivers that downtown experience without sacrificing the space and newer construction families want. Up next, we're heading south to a place where history actually means something. If you're new here, my name is Jadde Rowe, and I've helped hundreds of families move to and from and around the Twin Cities metro. So if you're exploring specific suburbs or trying to figure out which downtown area actually fits your lifestyle, I help people make these exact decisions every single day. My contact information is in the description below. Okay, now let's get back to it. Moving south now to Chaska, the number 9 in my ranking. What if I told you there's a downtown where you can curl in the morning, then grab dinner at a riverside restaurant all within walking distance? That's Chaska. And most people looking at the western suburbs completely miss it. Chaska is about 30 to 35 minutes southwest of downtown Minneapolis, and it sits right on the Minnesota River. The city has been around since 1852, so you're getting that authentic historic architecture mixed with newer stuff. The downtown has these small local restaurants, boutique shops, and honestly, it's just a really pleasant place to walk around. Now here's what makes Chaska unique. It's home to the Chaska Curling Center, which is one of Minnesota's premier curling spots open to the public. And yes, curling is a big deal here in Minnesota. This place has a restaurant attached, and it pulls people from all over the South and West Metro who want to learn how to curl or just enjoy the facility. But here's what makes this really interesting. The historic downtown vibe here costs a fraction of what you'd pay in Stillwater, which we're ranking later. Same charm, way less tourist makeup, but more on that comparison soon. Now, beyond the curling center, you've got tons of walking paths and parks in the area. The city has over 30 parks covering more than 1,000 acres, so outdoor stuff is definitely part of the lifestyle here. Median home prices in Chaska range from the low 300s to mid 400s, depending on the neighborhood and how old the home is. The Eastern Carver County schools serve the area. So if you're living in the South Metro, like Shakopee, Savage, Prior Lake, Carver, you can get to this downtown in 15 to 20 minutes. Even people from Bloomington or Eden Prairie will make the drive down because it's got that different vibe than what you find closer to downtown Minneapolis. The Minnesota Landscape Arboretum is also nearby, which is this massive 1,200-acre garden. So if you're into nature and outdoor spaces, Chaska delivers. This downtown gives you authentic historic character without the price tag of the better-known river towns. And speaking of lakeside spots, our next one offers something completely different. Here's the question: would you rather fight crowds in Wayzata or have the same lake access with half the people? Victoria makes that choice easy. Victoria sits on the south part of Lake Minnetonka, about 25 to 30 minutes southwest of downtown Minneapolis. This one's smaller and quieter than some of the other Lake Minnetonka downtowns, but that's actually the appeal. You've got cute coffee shops like Ruby's Roost, which is a local favorite. And then you've got those non-chain restaurants right on the water with some really nice walking paths around the area. Victoria's downtown is right along Lake Minnetonka, so you're getting that lakeside vibe without the crowds you might find in Wayzata or Excelsior during peak summer months. The city itself is small, around 12,000 people, but it's growing, and the downtown reflects that. It's not trying to be this massive commercial hub. It's just a nice, relaxed spot where you can grab a coffee, walk around the lake, and enjoy the scenery. Median home prices in Victoria run the mid 500s to low 600s, depending on how close you are to the lake. The Minnetonka School District and the Eastern Carver County Schools serve different parts of Victoria. So if you're living in the South and West Metro, places like Shakopee, Chanhassen, Chaska, Victoria are super accessible. Even people from Eden Prairie or Minnetonka will head over because it's only 15 to 20 minutes and offers a different lakeside experience than the busier spots. And when we get to Wayzata and Excelsior, you'll see exactly how much you save by choosing Victoria's quieter vibe. So stay with me. Now, Victoria has the Victoria Farmers Market during summer months, and there are different community events throughout the year that bring people in. And this is where you go when you want lake life without the scene. Now, let's head north to a place with a completely different kind of character. Ever been to a speakeasy in a hardware store? That's the kind of quirky authenticity Anoka delivers, and it's why people drive from all over the North Metro just to hang out here. Anoka calls itself the Halloween capital of the world, which is a fun claim to fame. But beyond that, the downtown is actually really charming. It sits right on the Mississippi River, and the whole area has this historic, antique vibe similar to Stillwater, but way less touristy. You've got boutique shops, local restaurants, and bars, and then there's this really popular speakeasy called the Hardware Store. It's one of those spots that people seek out specifically because it's got that unique vibe you can't find everywhere. The downtown is very walkable, and the riverfront access is a big draw. Anoka has over 1,500 acres of parks and open space, so if you're into trails and outdoor activities, you're covered. Median home prices in Anoka range around mid 300s, making it one of the more accessible options in the northern suburbs. The Anoka Hennepin School District serves the area. So if you're living in the northern suburbs like Maple Grove, Champlin, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, and even Osseo, or even on the east side like Fridley, Columbia Heights, or heading up to Coon Rapids, Anoka becomes this convenient spot for a restaurant, bar scene, or just walking around a cute downtown. The city throws tons of events, especially around Halloween. The Anoka Halloween celebration runs for about a month, and it's a huge deal with parades, haunted houses, and community activities. Anoka gives you authentic rivertown character at prices that actually make sense for most buyers. All right, now we're getting into the suburbs where the price tags really start climbing. If downtown Minneapolis and Rodeo Drive had a baby, you'd get 50th and France. Expensive? Yes. Worth it? For some people, absolutely. Edina is home to the #3 rated school district in Minnesota according to niche.com with an A+ rating. The city itself has around 53,000 people, and it's long been one of the most established suburbs in the metro. The 50th and France area specifically has this mix of high-end boutiques, both franchise and very unique local restaurants, and just a really vibrant atmosphere. You've got the historic Edina Theater, which opened in 1937, right in the heart of the district. Events happen constantly here. The Edina Art Fair in early June is one of the biggest arts fairs in the state. Music on the plaza during summer months brings people in for live music and outdoor dining. And during the holidays, the whole area is decorated and becomes a major shopping spot. Median home prices in Edina start in the high 500s and go up to well over $1 million. And honestly, depending on the neighborhood, you can push well into the 600s or even 700s and beyond. The housing stock mixes everything from 1950s to Tudors and Colonials to newer contemporary builds. So if you're living in Bloomington, St. Louis Park, Hopkins, or even downtown Minneapolis, 50th and France is super accessible. People also come from the southern suburbs like Richfield or even farther out because the restaurant and shopping options are just that good. And here's the thing, Edina is also home to Southdale Center, which was the first fully enclosed climate-controlled shopping mall in the United States, opening in 1956. So the city has this long history of being a retail and dining hub. This is where established money goes when they want urban convenience without living in the city. Now let's shift east to a downtown that proves you don't need the biggest name to deliver quality. So we are on the number 5 on my ranking, the middle of the pack. White Bear Lake is about 20 minutes northeast of downtown Minneapolis, and it's named after the lake itself, which is one of the larger lakes you can actually use in the metro area. Here's what nobody tells you though about White Bear Lake. It delivers the lakeside downtown experience everyone wants, just without the Instagram crowds and inflated prices. The downtown is small, but really nice. You've got local businesses, a few restaurants and bars, and then easy lake access right from the downtown area. White Bear Lake covers about 2,400 acres, so it's a substantial body of water with plenty of ways to enjoy it. What I like about White Bear Lake's downtown is that it's not trying to really compete with the bigger suburbs. It's just a solid community spot where locals actually hang out. Median home prices in White Bear Lake range from the mid 300s to low 400s, depending on how close you are to the lake and how old the home is. The White Bear Lake area schools serve the city. So if you're living in the eastern suburbs like North Oaks, Van Nuys Heights, Little Canada, Matamidi, White Bear Lake becomes this natural gathering spot. Even people from Roseville or Maplewood will head over because it's only 10 to 15 minutes and offers that lakeside downtown experience. The city has events throughout the year, including the White Bear Lake Market Fest, which is a weekly farmers market and music thing during summer months. White Bear Lake proves you don't need the most prestigious zip code to get quality lake access and a solid downtown. Now we're entering the Lake Minnetonka tier, where prestige and price tags both jump significantly. We're getting into the top tier now. The number 4 has the best school district of all. Wayzata sits on the north shore of Lake Minnetonka, and it is hands down one of the most prestigious addresses in the entire Twin Cities metro. Want to know what 800,000 plus buys you in the Twin Cities? Walk down Lake Street in Wayzata and you'll understand immediately. This is where the metro's top earners choose to live, and the downtown reflects that at every level. Wayzata has the number 1 rated school district in Minnesota for the 3rd year in a row, according to Niche's 2026 rankings, with an A+ rating. The downtown is centered around Lake Street, and it's just beautiful. You've got upscale boutiques, fine dining options, and then direct access to Lake Minnetonka right from downtown. The promenade runs along the lake, and it's this perfect spot for walking, watching boats, or just enjoying the scenery. Restaurants like Cove are right on the water and pull people from all over the metro. Maconda, which is a Mexican restaurant, is another local favorite with great tacos and a fun vibe. Median home prices in Wayzata sit around the high 800s, and lakefront properties easily push into the low 2 million range and beyond. This is one of the ultimate prestigious addresses in the metro, and the housing stock reflects that with beautiful homes, many with lake access or views. So if you're living in the western suburbs like Minnetonka, Eden Prairie, Plymouth, Wayzata is super accessible. But honestly, people come from all over the metro just to visit the downtown, grab dinner, or walk around the lake. The city has events like the Wayzata Art Experience and James J. Hill Days in early September, which celebrate the city's history and bring the community together. The vibe in Wayzata is definitely more upscale, but it's not just stuffy. It's just a really well-maintained, beautiful downtown with some of the best lakefront access in the metro. Wayzata earns its reputation and price tag, but there's one more Lake Minnetonka town that might just steal the show. Entering the top 3, we have Excelsior, which is my personal favorite Lake Minnetonka downtown. And it sits on the southwest side of the lake, about 20 minutes west of Minneapolis. If Wayzata is the polished country club, Excelsior is the fun neighbor everyone actually wants to hang out with. Both are on Lake Minnetonka. Both command premium prices, but the vibe is completely different. What makes Excelsior special is that it has this perfect mix of charm, easy access, and just really good restaurants and shops. The Excelsior Commons is right on the lake with a beach, playground, and just this great community gathering space. One of my favorite restaurants here is Coalition, which has this really creative menu and a cool atmosphere overall. The lobby is also a popular coffee shop right downtown that always has a line, which tells you everything you need to know about how much people love this place. The downtown itself is super walkable. You got local boutiques, art galleries, and then the lake right there. During summer, Excelsior Bay is packed with boats, and the whole area just has this energy that's really hard to beat. Median home prices in Excelsior and the surrounding Lake Minnetonka communities are around high 800s, and depending on where you are and if you've got lake access, it can be over 1 million plus easily. The Minnetonka and West Tonka school districts serve different parts of the area. So if you're living in the Southwest Metro, like Eden Prairie, Shakopee, Chanhassen, Excelsior is right there for the taking to enjoy. But even people from Bloomington, St. Louis Park, or the northwest suburbs like Maple Grove and Plymouth will make the drive because the restaurants and the vibe are just that good. Excelsior has the Excelsior Art on the Lake Festival and different summer events that pull huge crowds from all over the metro. The Excelsior Brewing Company is also right downtown, which is a great local brewery with a tap room and outdoor seating. Excelsior combines Lake Minnetonka prestige with actual personality. That balance is really tough to find. Now we're heading east again to the town that defines Minnesota charm. Stillwater is about 30 minutes east of Minneapolis on the St. Croix River, and it's honestly one of the most beautiful small towns in Minnesota. Cobblestone streets, Victorian architecture, a river that connects 2 states, Stillwater doesn't just have character, it is character, and that authenticity draws people from across the entire metro. The downtown sits right along the river, and it's filled with antique shops, local boutiques, restaurants, and just this incredible historic architecture. Stillwater was founded in 1848, and the downtown reflects that with preserved buildings and cobblestone streets. The Stillwater Lift Bridge is this iconic landmark that connects Minnesota to Wisconsin, and it's one of the few remaining vertical lift bridges in the country. The bridge doesn't carry cars anymore, but it's open to people walking and offers amazing views of the river. Dining options here are fantastic. You've got everything from casual cafes to upscale restaurants, and the waterfront location just adds to the whole experience. The Dock Cafe, Lolo American Kitchen, and Domison are all popular spots. Median home prices in Stillwater range from the mid 400s to mid 500s depending on the neighborhood and how close you are to the river. The Stillwater area public schools serve the city. So if you're living in the eastern suburbs like White Bear Lake, Matamidi, Lake Elmo, Oakdale, Roseville, Stillwater is super accessible. Even people from the northern suburbs like Forest Lake or the western suburbs who want a change of scenery will make the drive out. Stillwater throws tons of events throughout the year. Lumberjack Days in July is a massive festival with a parade, live music, and activities all along the riverfront. The Stillwater Harvest Fest in the fall is another big draw. Downtown is also home to a bunch of galleries, theaters, and specialty shops that you won't find anywhere else in the metro. Stillwater is everything a historic river town should be, minus the pretension. But there's one downtown that trumps them all. All right, number 1 on this list is St. Paul. Now I know St. Paul is technically a full city, not a suburb, but here's the thing. Forget what you think you know about downtowns. St. Paul delivers everything the suburbs don't offer. Museums and pro sports and prices that make Minneapolis look expensive. That's why it's number 1. St. Paul's Minneapolis' sister city and the capital of Minnesota. And its downtown absolutely deserves to be on this list because it offers something completely different than downtown Minneapolis. St. Paul's downtown has this historic, governmental feel with incredible architecture. The Minnesota State Capitol is right there, and it's one of the most beautiful Capitol buildings in the country. The surrounding areas have museums, theaters, restaurants, and just this really walkable, easy to get around downtown core. The XL Energy Center, which is now technically called the Grand Casino Arena, is home to the Minnesota Wild and hosts major concerts and events year-round. CHS Field, where the St. Paul Saints play, is also right downtown and has helped bring in new housing and mixed-use development in the area. The Science Museum of Minnesota is another major draw right down the Mississippi River, along with the Minnesota Children's Museum. And if you want performing arts, the Ordway Center for the Performing Arts has everything from Broadway shows to the Minnesota Opera and the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra. Median home prices in St. Paul sit in low to mid 300s, which is very similar to Minneapolis. But what's interesting about St. Paul is that you get this downtown living option with a more historic, traditional vibe than Minneapolis offers. So if you're living in the eastern suburbs like Maplewood, Woodbury, Inver Grove Heights, Mendota Heights, downtown St. Paul is your go-to. But people also come from all over the southern suburbs and even the western suburbs for events, dining, and just to experience the downtown. Summit Avenue runs through St. Paul and is home to the longest stretch of Victorian homes still standing in the nation, including F. Scott Fitzgerald's birthplace and the Governor's Place. So if you're getting this incredible mix of historical architecture and modern development. The St. Paul Winter Carnival is in February, and it's one of the biggest winter festivals in the country, with ice sculptures, parades, and activities that pull people from all over. And the St. Paul Saints games during the summer are just a blast. Family friendly, right in the heart of downtown. St. Paul gives you a full downtown experience with culture, history, and access you just can't replicate in the suburbs. The Twin Cities Metro proves you don't need to sacrifice downtown vibrancy just because you're choosing suburban life. If you're trying to narrow down which suburbs actually fit your lifestyle and budget before you start touring homes, email me today. I'll help you figure out everything. And check out the video I've linked here where I reveal which neighborhoods are giving you the most bang for your buck. It's the complete relocation guide you need before making any decisions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.